I'm sure you're all wondering, why is Lisa not here celebrating her father's life? And I wanted to give you a very brief explanation. After 2 years of wearing masks, getting vaccinated multiple times and boosted, and being very careful and not coming into contact with a lot of students where I work, I have managed to get COVID. So it's very unpleasant. Let's leave it at that. So that's the explanation. This is the only way I'm capable of pointing out a few things that will always remind me of my father. I remember as a child, he would listen to a weather radio or something like that, and he and I would record the temperatures all over the state of Louisiana on this little map, and we would do this every day. Another thing that I recall, I must have been 5 or 6 years old, and he said to me, "There's a storm coming. You need to come out and watch the storm." So I said, "Okay." You know, being 5 or 6, I was dressed in a little dress. I loved dresses at that point. And in our yard, as I'm sure most of you know, we had a terrace in our yard, and it was the patio and the terrace was divided by a big brick wall, not tall, but just a big brick wall that was about maybe 8 to 10 inches wide. And so he would go out and stand and watch the clouds, and the wind would be whipping, and the trees would be flying all over the place. And I would dance across the wall in the wind before the rain started. And my mother said that I looked like a little wood sprite with my red hair flying and the little dress blowing all over the place. And my father taught me not to be afraid of a storm. And I have never been afraid of a storm. Just the other day here, I was at work and there was a tornado watch. And so I went out and the wind was blowing and whipping around, and I was outside, and a security guard pulls up and says, "Ma'am, do you realize that there's been a tornado sighting?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I did." And he said, "Well, maybe." I said, "Oh, I know you want me to go inside." And he said, "Yes, I really do, because if you don't, I'm going to be in big trouble." And I said, "Okay." He said, "You're not afraid?" I said, "No, I'm not afraid." So, at any rate, so my father taught me not to be afraid of a storm. And when I was little, I called that dancing in the storm. So, I will never forget doing that. There were many times that we did that. Also, my father had a group of students that I recall who I was very close to my entire life, his graduate students, and they had an experiment going in my parents' backyard, and they had to sleep there for some reason, if I'm recalling correctly, because they had to monitor something all the time. So there was this huge group of students who were just sleeping in the living room, and not the living room, the family room on the floor. And I remember sitting among them with Larry and Rona and just being part of them. And they were part of my family. So I will always remember and thank my father for bringing those people into my life. So, this I wanted to speak very briefly, and I have spoken very briefly. I apologize that I'm not there. I apologize for my appearance. It was not planned this way. So, I wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for being part of my father's life. Thanks. Bye.